like understanding that of what is the whole thing of the omniverse, which is where the objects actually live, like a chair, and where it that object lives, and then it echoes and ripples out the wanting to be used. And then the multiverse, where it's actually the objects is actually going to be used, or actually taking place of being able to become a use. And then that's where you have the whole life coming forth of like the users that so you have the whole concept of who is going to use the objects that live in the omniverse, the object verse, where it echoes out and ripples out the idea of that concept. And so then it goes down to the multiverse, where it houses the actual object, seeing how it can be used, and then who can use them. And then you have the universe, the users of the objects. And then you actually have, you have those three verses, and honestly, I believe that maybe, if in all truthfulness, there's another verse becoming forth. And so it would be like, I call it the intro verse. But then you got the whole thing of the universe being direct. And being that the universe is direct because each part, because you got the omniverse, which is the full circle, and does the roundabout because it's a circle. And then you got the transition of the multiverse to the universe, which is direct, because the universe is actually each wholeness part understanding itself, what kind of use it is, and what kind of its attributes, because each wholeness part is whole in itself, because that part is the part of it, and that's where space comes from, because you have the whole, it's holding the space, the idea, the lesson, and it's direct because it's understanding itself. That wholeness part is understanding itself. The only way to actually understand something is to go through it, and the only way to actually go through it is to be living it. But the only way that the wholeness part can actually understand itself is to be able to work its own way out of understanding itself, because each wholeness part is representing the idea, that concept of what the full extent of the next expansion of the next kind of idea or corresponding attributes that actually apply within the mapping of each other, how they interwoven with each other. And only the wholeness part can represent that, because another wholeness part is representing something else. So in the universe, which is direct, which actually houses the student concept, because everything's a student first and then the teacher. It kind of goes around the whole thing of, is the chicken or did the egg come first? Does it really make a difference if it's all existing now? Because the same thing with the objects, inventing and creating that of the personality, the multi-uses of them, the users of them. It doesn't make a difference of what started first, what came second, when it all exists now, especially once you understand that whole idea of what it is to have an introverse, that introduction of what is actually the answering of what is the question, which is actually the only question that's ever been asked. I am what, or what am I? From the omniverse, this has been asked onto the multiverse, onto the universe. Because nothing's actually been created. Everything that's in the universe and up, or in a multiverse, omniverse, isn't created. It's all part. It all exists within the whole, and the circle is understanding itself through that of what the omniverse is, the multiverse, and the universe, in the direct sense of having each wholeness part understand itself, being able to understand itself, so it can go back to that of what is a student of understanding itself, of being able to do directly. And so every wholeness part is a student, but can become a teacher by that of using the multiple uses through that of the multiverse, that of the student going and doing that of the roundabout. Because actually the teacher doing the roundabout, the student becoming the teacher, because that of the student does it direct, because it's directly understanding it from their perspective, their presentation of the showcasing of what their wholeness part really can be, or the understanding of the idea of the concept of what is being portrayed. That of when the student transitions to the teacher, it's kind of like the 100th monkey effect, or the 99th monkey effect, when the 100th monkey is really the first monkey. The student teaches another student, but through that student understanding directly and the other student doing the direct thing too, the only way that the student can actually accurately portray that undertaking and the understanding of the conceptual idea of what it is to be a concept, or a pliable, usable means of being able to fully take the next step of accepting the glass and the water. I mean, yes, you can take the glass and dump the water out, but you're going to refill it with that same water that you dumped out, and then fill it with more water, because you're not going to dump the glass out anymore. You're just going to build around it. It's kind of like the whole thing of 0 to 1, and then it keeps going. It doesn't just stop at 9 or whatnot. It goes to 10 and then beyond. That the student that's becoming the teacher, because the student's not a teacher. I mean, the student's not fully a teacher. I mean, yes, they're a teacher within teaching themselves first. So it's like the same thing with the chicken and the egg. Which one came first? We can say the student came first, but really it wasn't the teacher, because the teacher lives in with the multiverse or the omniverse kind of a thing, because that's where that takes stance. But the student that's becoming the teacher, that's showing the other student that's using the direct way, the student that's becoming the teacher, like, basically it's preferable for them to be able to portray it in an accurate sense for the other student to understand it, to be able to become the a teacher themselves, of within that of what is that of the roundabout, because every student understands different, because every student is a wholeness part, and they only focusing and understanding in this way because their attributes are that. They are that. So simply, you are in the object first, because you are part of everything. You are all of everything. So all is truly actually understanding everything. And we could say all consists in that of the universe, because all is a part, or the wholeness parts, in the separated sense, and everything is within the omniverse, which is everything, in a circle together. So that the student that's becoming the teacher, it's preferable for them to do the roundabout. And within that roundabout, they become the teacher again, or they become a student again, because they're learning how to become a teacher. a preferable teacher, a teacher that's actually able to present it and showcase it in a way that others can understand it, or at least be able to step in and say, look at this, and then step back out. Because that's what the roundabout does. It assists when you're going a roundabout to understand something. Yes, that means talk about it in a philosophy kind of way, but also interject your own understanding of it within that of giving the room, the roundabout, giving the room, or what is at least working of giving the room to be able to give the person, the student, because the only way you truly understand something is if you go through it yourself. It's like you could be the most intricate, minute, finite, frank sense of being able to showcase the most vibrancy of what is the beauty and just the sparks and the intertwining of the inferno of what a sunset, the transitioning from one attribute of the night to that of the transitioning of that of the attribute of the light or day or whatnot. You can be the most famous person that of all is able to do this, most renowned storyteller that literally everybody at 7 or whatnot a lot of time turns to their whatnot devices that's able to go worldwide to portray, to be able to them to be able to connect to your I just seen a shooting star but to your skills and your attributes and just all together encompassing beauty and that tantalizing intricacy of being able to actually portray it in a sense of them fully seeing it. But you can do that, and somebody that's deaf or somebody that's blind can hear you in the best way that they can within what is their willingness to be able to fully be able to understand or live out their incarnation of whatever the perceptual viewpoint of what it is for them to be blind or deaf or whatnot. But if they don't actually be the one that sees it, because even if they understand what you're saying, every single moment is its own thing. So in truth, you're not going to be able to, you can go ahead and do it. You can go ahead and describe every single thing in that, every single time. But it's going to be a good challenge. But my question is, because what a universe is, or whatnot, the full extent, or what is, what I feel right now, basically, because everything is moving forward. No matter if what your perceptual viewpoint is, all of everything is moving forward. Now there are some of the people, some of the entities, some of the level, some of the dimensional, some of the multidimensional, some of the omnidimensional or whatnot energies, because everything is energy, everyone is energy, so death really doesn't have any stats except for what is a human understanding of what it is to be one way of saying that you are never going to be anything, or that you actually, in truthfulness, that it means that you're finally severed your energetic link to showcasing your understanding of understanding something through that vessel, so that you would, so your next whatnot of incarnation of doing whatnot. Let me see if I recall what I was saying. I did digress a little. I do recall. Okay, so that of the universe is actually truly portraying that of the transitioning from 1, 2, 3 to 4. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, you can think of it, yes, there are cycles, but then there are stages, such as the omniverse is the first stage, the multiverse is the second stage, and the universe is the third stage. Now, unless there is other stages or other verses out there, there's only 3. And basically, since all of everything is still moving forward, there's going to be another verse, another stage, and I call it the introduction verse or the intro verse, because it's actually going to be that of every wholeness part understanding their fullness of what that means to be holding the space of that attribute. And that's where time kind of comes in too, because space and time only coexist and exist within the universe. As I said, what space is, time is that of the motioning of what the understanding and the undertaking of what the round is, the roundabout understanding of it, because it always takes time, right? It kind of thing. But like I was saying, the introverse is that of every wholeness part fully understanding what attributes they are and how they commingle, coexist, and intertwine, and then play out and ripple and echo, and their vibrancy of whatnot, of their skills and their gifts, of their presentation, of their showcasing, of their understanding of onto that of the whole of everything, which means also in the same sense that everybody's equal, everything's equal, because it will understand that it comes from everything. All will understand that it comes from everything. But in that sense, because in the multiverse, the omniverse, and the universe, nothing actually is getting created new. It's all coming down to that of understanding. Each wholeness part is understanding itself. Within that, you got the whole within the introverse, the introduction of what actually everything, all of everything actually is, because it's finally going to be able to answer the question of what am I am what. It's going to get the answer through that. It's like I've said, it's the only question that's actually been asked. What am I am what. So then it's going to become the only answer that's ever been answered by after the question, and going to finally be able to answer it through the introverse, the stage 4, which is so enthralling, it's so anthropical, it's so just explosive and dynamic and just whoa-ly, that once every wholeness part understands itself and sees that it's equal, that all of everything is that's what it is, that they're finally going to get the answer. My question is, what I'm wondering is, does that mean that that's actually when creation is actually going to create something? And if what that means, what is going to be created? Isn't that just so, influential? What's the other one? Oh goodness, it's and then inspiring, and then motivation. Truly, it's wow. But I don't know. It's truly, it's today has been so amazing. It's just been awe-inspiring. So, bless everything. And it's the synchronistics of what it is to understand things, of it synchronistically, I got to talk to my grandmother today and my mother. That's a little funny. I know it's not okay. Um, and I got to realize stuff, I got the full explanation of, like, accepting and all that, of why it's preferable, what a private property is, and how it can be considered soliciting and all that. But in truth, all I do is, that's why I have our website, because you can go to the website, you can read it, and you can change it. Not physically by yourself changing it, because it is my online journal and my understanding of being able to say 1 through 9 instead of going 1, 5, 9, because I've actually gotten the moment of focusing and saying, okay, that's that. But like I said, you can go to it and change it by talking to me and be like, okay, that makes sense, because everybody's website, like I'm saying, is that it's a place where people can gather to be able to have a stance, being able to come together, being able to formulate a plan, or being able, even if they do it themselves, being able to take the next step, being able to take a step of living. I'm not surviving, because this whole monetized thing of money, paying for stuff, that's surviving. You have to get up, you gotta do this, like, that's not, to me, that's not preferable. I rather live, It's like, what are the requirements? What are the attributes? What is actually necessary of a need and a have, which is, when truth, what is a need and a have once you got food, water, shelter, communication, and transportation? And if everybody has those things, then what is a need and a have? In all truthfulness, except for accepting the understanding of whatnot. And once everybody has those things, it's at their disposal, then everybody will truly be able to be equal. And being then, they can live in a place where they can do something, whatever they want to do, like that, like the whole thing of, because like it's if we are the only creatures here, or if we're not the only creatures here, take your stance on it. But if we aren't, that perception, if we're not the only creatures that are in this universe or whatnot, kind of a breakdown, it's absolutely hilarious joke to everything else that talks about humanity. They are the only ones that pay for them to live there. That's silly, because that's the only place that you survive at. Which is beautiful, because it gives that understanding. There's so much diversity in this actually live library, where it actually contains every single attribute of all of everything playing out in one area. So that's what the Earth is. But like, well, how do you live that way? How do you get that way? It's a step-by-step process. You gotta understand things. You gotta accept them. You got, like, it can be this way, but by accepting that it can be this way, by taking the glass, emptying the water, or keeping the water and building up around that glass, it can be this way. You can do this. Like somebody, I recall, the spirit science person. They were like, well, I want to live in a sky city, because if you focus on it, it actually will come true. I mean, yes, you have the whole what vibration or level are you at? Are you here in humanity, but then you aren't above the like the grids, or the understanding of what an idea, because it's like, it breaks down to, you're going to go to a food store to get food, you're going to go to a clothing store to get clothing, unless you go to like a superstore or whatnot where they can bind it. Those things aren't going to be there. The food is only going to be at the food store, and the clothing is only going to be at the clothing store. That's how dimensions and levels work. That idea, that concept is only going to be at that one level. So in truth, it's all about vibration. So you change your vibration, you raise it or you lower it. It doesn't make a difference. It's how you want to live your existence, how you want to understand your wholeness of your part, because you're the one that is in control of your existence, because you're all a part of everything. Being that everything is vibration, and you get out of it because you can't, stop something. You can't stop the food store from selling food, because that's where everybody gets food. I mean, from basically without any other excuses of doing it or not doing, because everything is an excuse. Do I do it or do I not do it? Is it preferable or is it unpreferable? But what else could I say right now? Love yourself. In all truthfulness, love yourself. Be the one that says, I love me. Like recently, before going to bed, or letting this body rest, and going somewhere else, because you don't die, you're always moving, because your body's the only truest one that stays in the universe, or where it's at in the universe, because it's holding the space for that idea. Being that you're within that multiple usage, because that's how you got created, you're using everything else. You're basically, you're a user, so you're going to be multiply doing it. That of, like I'm saying, is that of you say, I ask for all the attachments to unattach from me. I ask for every attachment that I attach to be unattached, to be cleansed, to let my body be fully healed in the places that it is preferable, that I'm going to be rested, but my body is going to be fully energized, that I'm going to have the best sleep that I've ever had, or my body's going to have the best rest that it's ever had, and I'm going to be refreshed, and I'm going to be unclouded, and I'm going to be clear, so I can be clear, direct, balanced, centered, and grounded. So I can go ahead and be able to go about understanding my understanding the undertaking of the idea, of the concept, of the objectization of what is the wholeness part that I am, or am I. You could say that you know what I am, or you could say I is an I experiencing the understanding of the undertaking of the understanding of what it is to be able to say what an am of the next extension, the next experience of it, what it is to be myself. Also, it's kind of silly. Like, okay, yes, I understand that the universe is based off of a mirror aspect, or at least this existence and the understanding of the undertaking of the understanding of the idea of the concept of what it is to be human at this moment without anything else changing. Maybe in the whole universe it's like that as such, because it's all the wholeness parts understanding themselves. So everything's a mirror. So you're able to base it off the understanding of what is going, because everything's within, and what's happening without is kind of basically the basis of what is. It's the showcasing, actually, the playing out. The users actually doing the multiple uses, the showcasing of the users representing what the multiple uses can be of the object. That. Yes, it also depends. It also, you can take it as a prediction. Everything's a prediction. I'm feeling good. That's a prediction. Or tomorrow's going to be like this. Or your horoscope is a prediction. What is a prediction? It's what's going to play out until you change something. Kind of like the raptures from the Bible. Now that prediction is only really pliable from that of the understanding when at that moment that it got written to represent what's going to happen if things don't change. So in all truthfulness, that stuff's not going to happen, right? Okay. Or it can, whatever you want to decide, however you want to focus yourself, because in all truthfulness, it breaks down to, I'm living my today, but when I go into my door or a room, I'm still living my today, I'm living my now. But if I go out into around or go to somewhere else, even if I have somebody with me, they're still living that now. They're living their today, their now. But if I open the door to the world or whatnot, or walk through the door, even if I just was with somebody that was in the now, the today, and I go to the bathroom and shut the door, it seems like it's still that now, that today, but in all truthfulness, it's somebody else's 2 weeks ago. Because it's all multi-dimensional. It's all multi-uses. So, and it's all how you perceive it, It's just because you have gone through the black and white and black, regurgitational, monetized, box-ationed schooling that you're still in, said it's preferable to do it this way, and this is the only way, as it's some semi set up to be distractionful, because why else do they call it TV programming? It used to be called TV showings. Let's go to the showings. Let's go to the movies and see some shows. Now it's called TV programming. It's not called programming for nothing. It's programming. They're programming you how to think. They're continuing on from the black and white and black, regurgitational, monetized, box-ationed schooling. And that's what surviving is. Doing something else that somebody else is preferable. Because you use experts. Because they obviously know more than you. When in all truthfully, you're the one that understands yourself. It comes from you to say my leg hurts, because nobody else is going to be able to unless they hook you up to something. And then it comes from you because they're hooking something up to you. And that's in all truthfulness how the universe or everything understands an all from that wholeness part, displaying that, showcasing. Yes, it does take you being that of a teacher, or transitioning or becoming the fullness of a teacher, of being able to do that. Don't beat yourself up, Everything takes time. Because that's where the universe, that's where you are right now. That's the stage that it is. You can think of a circle, because that's what it is. And then it's gonna, the circle's gonna get bigger. And then the circle's gonna get bigger, because it's gonna round out. Because basically, there is no step. It's only been rolling. Everything's been rolling. Because it's the roundabout. Once the introverse or the stage 4 comes about, that's when everything is going to take a step forward. And so there's many things. Like, it's also your perception. It's also how much are you willing to focus on this attribute, this understanding. Because, in all truthfulness, you got the people, you have, the whole black sheep kind of thing. what is normal? The definition of normal, or my definition of normal, what it can be, is that of what is you coexisting within a societal outgoing of what is acceptable, of being able to stay within the guidelines that other people, that the experts have set up so that everybody can coexist instead of living together by accepting. That's what normal is, or can be. So being not normal means what? You're gonna be well, it's possible for you to be ostracized and be the black sheep, because if you don't have another black sheep, you're not going to be accepted. It's just how that goes. Because like I'm saying, is if somebody hasn't got out or been more willing to say that's not preferable, because they're so fully focused on the box size, the black and white and black, regurgitational, boxization, monetized schooling that you guys, everybody's in at this moment, to say that's not normal, that's not okay. And if you're not willing to love yourself and accept yourself fully, which is actually one of the keys of being able to be an adult, of being able to accept yourself and love yourself, and being able, I really wish I could recall the other one, because my grandmother, when I was talking to her today, she said that, and or I asked, I was like, so that's one of the key things, and she was like, yeah, because like there are some people that are willing, like, okay, so everybody starts off walking in a circle because it's all roundabout, right? Walking in a circle, going forward, looking down, as if you're looking down because you're only focusing on your world. You're seeing, you're like a child, see the beauty and the awe and everything, like in the first time, every time, looking down. Now, since all of everything is still moving forward, you're showcasing a representation of your outer structure is going to appear that of an adult, or an older person, or somebody that has aged, or whatnot. But there's a moment from you following the footsteps of everything, being the actual showcasing of it, or the internal to the external link up of what it is to be able to be an accurate representation of what it is to represent your outer exterior from within the inner. Now you have the moment where you look up and you stay looking up, or you have it where, whoa, and you look back down. Now you keep walking forward, and everything keeps moving forward, so your outer structure changes, but you have the mental mentality, more or less, to put it in a frank sense of understanding of a child. Because just like an infant, you know how you have to like hold their head up because they can't support it? If you don't keep your head up, then you can't support your head. You can't support yourself, basically. You're going to be a child. That. And then you got it where you got the moments where, okay, now I'm going to keep walking, and now I'm ready to look up again. You can look up and stay looking up, and you're going to be shooken because you're shaking, because you're like, you know how like you nod off when you're super tired, but you're going to sit and do whatever, and you just like nod off. You're like, whoa, kind of a thing. That's the shaking, basically. And then yes, you do have the earthquakes where everybody else is like rolling around you, shaking you, kind of thing, kind of like saying, okay, well, this is life, this is what it is, not that they're doing it on purpose. You don't understand it, so you're not able to portray it to them, so they don't understand it, because they think that you're an adult. I can see that you're an adult. You're not 18 anymore. So that mentality from the black and white and black monetized regurgitational boxation of their schooling that we're all in at this moment. Thinking, because you're not inspired, you're not influenced to be encouraged. That's what it is. Encouraged to be inspired, to be motivated, to see the magic, to think for yourself. That like the whole thing of basically you would okay, you see a cart in a drain ditch. You have the people that think it's going to take one person. You have the people that are going to take two people, and you have somebody that's going to thinks that it's going to take three people. Well, what if it's going to take one person? That person, first off, is going to want to know the weight from either side, because one side's heavier than the other. So by lifting up that side without lifting it up, you're able to see what side where. By walking up the hill without it, but picturing you got it, and picturing you actually putting it on, taking it out of there, so you can understand the inclines and the flat of it or whatnot, or the declines or whatnot, and then actually physically picking it up, that like you're carrying something. Now, you also have it where that first person thinks this way about it. The second person thinks this way about it. Well, I'm with my friend, and we can both do it together. Or it's that I go back with somebody because I'm not at the strong enough or whatever, and then you have the next person that thinks three, and then it's just all a team effort, But if we had that kind of schooling, or if everybody had that kind of schooling, you know how many people would actually be a scientist, would actually be an engineer, would actually be an artist, would actually do something more, what is preferable? Everybody, every single person would think for themselves. And you wouldn't have anybody to be an expert but you. And then you would accept, and everybody would say, oh, I am valuable. Oh, I am smart. Oh, I can do this? Wow. Okay, that's living, not surviving like how we are, how at this moment without any other changes are living, or surviving. I'm living. But, I digressed a little bit. Can I recall what I was saying? And I will. Well, at this moment, I don't quite recall what I was talking about before I digressed. Which, was that random? No, it was not. If somebody else walked by and they started listening, that would be random. Because everything's random when it's not from yourself. Because you're the one that